Greetings. Welcome to this week's DigiScrap layout. I'm Anita with beandesigns.com. Thank you for watching this video and sharing in my journey. We're going to work on the left side of this two-page spread, which we started last week. On this page, we're going to create a photo collage, scale out the photos to fit, create a title, adjust our line spacing within our journaling, and review adding dimension to the pictures, elements, and page. Let's get started by opening a new image. We'll go to File, New, or we can push Control N, 3600 by 3600 pixels, Advanced Options, 300 pixels per inch. Okay, our new image, I'm going to make it 25% and fit to my little area, here. This allows me to see my entire page without having to scroll. I'm going to show you how you can drag and drop items from one layered image to another. This is an image here that we created already, and it has all of the layers. So this is still saved as an XCF, and it has items on here that I want to have on my other page to create continuity between the two pages. So I'm going to go ahead and choose some things. I'm going to select my background paper, left click, drag, and drop it onto my canvas. I could do the other two papers as well. However, on the finished scrapbook page, they have been rotated and I don't want them rotated. On the new one, I will go to the file and access those. But I do want to go ahead and pull in the stitch line and the flowers, because the flowers have been shadows added, everything. So they're already done and would show creative continuity between the two pages. Stitch line, stitching. I already put that one in. White flower. Okay, so we have the stitch line, the background paper, and the three flowers. Now I'm going to my file and I'm going to get the papers. Let's pull in the blue paper and I'm going to drag and drop the white paper as well. That's not the same white paper. Let's do this one. There we are. So I'm going to delete the other one. I'm going to pull my white floral, relayer it. I'm going to need some pictures here. And so let's get this picture and this picture. We're going to create a photo collage with these photos. We have the two that were, these were cell phone photos, and then we have the large picture. It was also a cell phone photo, but it was done at a different density there. I'm going to loosely align them to my right, and then I'm going to make the top one active. It has the yellow lines around it. I'm going to use my scale tool to scale this a tad bit larger. I don't want it a lot larger because remember it didn't have a lot of density to it, but I want it to be approximately a third to a fourth of the width across the page. I'm going to apply that function. I'm going to make my active layer the second picture. You see the yellow dotted line, scale tool. I can click on the picture. I'm going to make this picture the same width as the previous one, and I'm going to apply that. I'm going to push my M key on my keyboard to activate the move tool, and I'm going to pull this bottom picture to match the top picture. I want to now highlight and make active the large picture. I'm going to apply my scale tool to bring that approximately the height of the other two pictures, because I want these three pictures to communicate with each other to create this collage. I recognize that there's going to be some overlapping. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that. So let me pull this one to be the same height, scale. Now we're the same height, and I'm pleased with the way the three pictures interact. I do want to create some distinction between the left and the right pictures and the top and the bottom picture. How I'm going to do that is by simply drawing a rectangle and cutting out a line in between. This will allow the matte paper to shine through a little bit, creating some distinction in those photos, between the photos. What I'm going to do while I do this is I'm going to increase our magnification, and I'm going to select our rectangular tool, go to tool options, I'm not going to feather or round, and I'm just going to draw a tiny line, draw a tiny rectangle on either side of the pictures, and I'm going to push the delete key to remove um, I'm going to remove the portion inside our rectangle that was on this picture, because this one was the one that was active. I need to choose my active layer as the bottom right picture, push my delete tool, and then that removes the section of that picture that is that is selected. Same thing for the top picture. I'm going to scroll over. Now I'm going to let's select none, and I'm going to draw another rectangle selection just like I did before, and I'm going to delete portion from the top picture, portion from the bottom picture. I'm going to now hide the two right pictures so that we can see the section we need to delete from our big photo, from our large photo. I'm going to make the large photo our active layer, choose our select tool, and draw a rectangle around that portion. Push the delete key on our keyboard, and that part goes away. We can select none, and we can go to layer, crop to content. Let's make our two other pictures visible again, and there you see. At this point, I'm going to decrease our magnification. We're going to cut our photo mat from the blue background paper. We're going to choose our select tool. We're going to draw a rectangle around all three photos, allowing a border on the top and the bottom. We'll invert this selection so that instead of having the area underneath the photos selected, now the excess has been selected, and we can push the delete key on our keyboard and it will delete the area that we do not want. Then we can select none, go to layer, and crop to content. At this point, we can right click on the blue layer, choose alpha to selection, and we can go to our select menu bar across the top and grow our selection by 50. Do OK. Change our active layer to the white paper. Now we have selected the area underneath our photos. underneath the blue paper, but that's not the area we want to delete. So let's invert our selection. So now our selection is the area we need to go to cut away. So we're going to push the delete key. That area will go away. Select none, layer, crop to content. Now we have photo mats underneath our photo collage. I'm going to increase our magnification. Take a look at our stitching line. So let's choose the move tool, and we're going to grab the stitching line and move it down just on top of the blue photo mat. Let's duplicate that layer. As I use my move tool to select the stitching, I keep an eye over on the layer palette to confirm that I'm actually selecting the stitch layer and not the photo mat below it. And I'm having a hard time at this time. There, I have it. So I'll drag up to the top, just over the edge of the blue photo mat. I'm going to use my move tool now. Go ahead and pull my flower over into place and the white flower into place. I want to duplicate the white flower once and the dark flower once. Let's go ahead and pull a dark one down here and a white one and the fuchsia. Make a cluster. Remember, when we pulled, we actually drag and dropped these from the other page. So they're sized the same as our right page in this 2-page spread, and they already have their shadows. So that makes it very nice and easy for placement. Our next step is going to be a title. So we'll do this by selecting our text tool, making sure our tool options are chosen, available. This is going to be, my text is going to be Beautiful Lavinia, and my color is this beautiful orchid color. So I'm just going to click onto my image, and I'm going to type Senor and Senora Bean. I'm okay with, so I'm going to choose my move tool and move my title in place. I want to add a secondary part to this. So let's highlight the text tool once again and click outside of our previous title area. And I'm going to type EST 12, 15, 19. And that did go off the page. Let's go to the move tool and pull this. That's a little bit larger than I want, and I wanted to use a basic font. So what we can do, our text layers are, we can make edits to our text layers all the way up until we add a function to them. If we add a shadow, we do a rotation, anything that we do to our text layer, then we can't make changes and edits to the actual wording or letters. So let's go ahead and I'm going to choose my text tool, and then I'll just click inside the active layer box of the text that I want to alter. I can make this smaller, so I'm going to make this text 150. Push enter. That might be a little bit too small. Let's make it 200. Enter. And I want to make it a basic font, not the fancy font. So I'm going to click into where I get to choose my font style. I'm going to just go to Arial Italic, click on that. I can go to my move tool, grab it, and not the background layer, undo move. Okay, so click on part of the letter there, part of the number, just place it. I'm right justifying it, placing it right underneath the title. I'm going to increase our magnification so that we can see what happens if we add a shadow to the large title. So over on my layer palette, I'm going to make the large title active. I'm going to go to filter and light and shadow and do a drop shadow. It's going to bring up my menu bar, drop down menu. Right here you can put on your preview or turn off your preview. So pay attention to the letters. So right now the preview is on, so the shadow is as if the shadow is there. So I'm going to unclick it and the shadow disappears. You don't think that it would make a big deal because this paper is so dark, but actually the shadow does add dimension to that title. So I'm going to apply that. Remember I mentioned that you can't make changes to your text once you've added a function. So let's see what happens if we try to do that. We have our Senor Senora Bean text layer active. I click on my text tool, and if I click inside that area, it says the layer I selected is a text layer. It has been modified using other tools. Editing the layer with the text tool will discard these modifications. You can edit the layer or create a new layer from its text attributes. So I could choose to edit this. I would have to go back and add my shadow at another time. So I don't want to do that. I just wanted to illustrate to you what would happen. Let's look at journaling. I off camera typed out our journaling. So let's make that layer visible. You'll notice that the line spacing is rather large. What I want to do, let me zoom out and show you what I want to do with this. I want to put this journaling 90-degree angle over here and fill this bottom right square. So initially I type it out, of course, correctly. We'll make our adjustments and then we will rotate it 90 degrees to fill this space. So let me zoom in so that we can change our line spacing on this because we can make these lines much closer together and it still be readable. So we're going to make sure that this is our active layer. Choose our text tool, click inside the box. Over on our right, just under Justify, are 3 tools that we can use. And you can see that the middle one is the spacing up and down between lines. So I'm going to reduce the spacing between the lines. You see how they're coming closer and closer together? And okay, my letters there. I'm pretty happy with that right there. So I'm going to now use my move tool that deactivates the text tool, and I'm going to select the rotate tool. Now I can click anywhere inside my yellow outline box and I can rotate this. I can do it manually by grabbing and moving, or I can just type in my 90 in the drop down menu. Now I have my move tool and I'm going to grab part of the letter, one of the letters, and just grab it and pull it over to the corner. I want to be cautious in my corner here. I don't want it to go too far to where I'm in danger of it potentially getting cut off when it goes to the printing. So I'm going to move it out. Let's grab a C there. Okay, so now I have space underneath it and beside it. There's still space here, but it's coming up onto my mat. So I'm going to go click my scale tool, click inside the outlined area, grab one of my corners, and pull it to fit my space. Click on scale to apply that movement, and there I have it. I have placed it right where I want it, right in that area. Let's zoom out so we can see the full page. See our full page. We've got we have all of our elements now. So let us go do our dimension. So I'm going to go over to my layer palette, highlight, make the active layer the dark background paper. Let's duplicate it. Use our select tool. We're going to feather and round our edges. Select the square just inside the outer edges. We're going to delete that center section. Then we're going to make this layer mode multiply. And if we want the outer edge to not be quite so dark, we can reduce the opacity to make the outer edge darker, but not so dark that it looks too much. So let's go select, done. We've highlighted our white paper with the flowers. Let's duplicate that. We're going to right click, alpha to selection. We'll go to the top menu bar, choose select and feather by 25. Okay. Select shrink by 10. Okay. Then we will delete that center section inside that copy of the layer. We'll go to our mode for the layer and have that to be multiply. Then we'll move to the blue mat, duplicate it, right click, alpha to selection, select feather by 25, okay. Select shrink by 10, okay. Delete the center section, mode, multiply that outer edge. Next step, let's ink the edges of our photos. Duplicate the large photo, right click, alpha to selection, select feather by 25, select shrink by 10. We're going to delete the inner portion of our duplicate layer. And then we're going to apply the difference mode. Move up a layer, duplicate, alpha to selection, select feather, select shrink, delete, mode, difference. And then the final photo, duplicate, alpha to selection, select feather, select shrink, and delete. Oh, push OK, and then delete. And then we'll change the mode to difference. So with that, we have a completed page. We've done all of our dimension, shadows on our flowers, highlighted the edges of our paper, darkened the edges of the whole page, inked the edges of our photo. Save. Let's save it. We saved it as an XCF, maintains all of our layers. It's all complete, so we can also export as a JPEG. Export as a JPEG. We say export, I already have one labeled this way, so it asked me if I wanted to replace that one. I want to maintain the same, all of the default settings, push export. Now I have saved my whole image as a JPEG, high quality JPEG ready for printing. Once again, thank you for watching this video and joining me in this journey. This completes our 5th layout with 47 more to go. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. Look in the description box below this video for information regarding the designers of the papers and elements that I used in the layout. Have a great day. Blessings on you and your family as you make and preserve memories for the future generations through scrapbooking. Bye bye until next week.